system. So this is S4 HANA system. Let's look at the GL account, how we create, and what are the main changes which are coming up. So if you see here, the transaction codes which are there, pretty much the same accounts transactions are there, FS00 and FSP0 and S0. So let me create the GL account in the central way, and so that I can explain all the fields. So let me have the GL account number, let's say 99. I'm just giving a random number. As you know, the GL account number is determined by the account group settings. So the number range, if you look at the account group, the account group I'm going to take as assets. So test assets I am going to create. So if you notice here, a couple of things are coming up here. The time dependent attributes, again, this SAP says that only applicable for China, but some of the fields which are there, like short text and the account number itself is made as a time dependent, so it can be used for maintaining time dimension for GL account attributes. So let me click on that create button here, so that some of the fields will be enabled here. So first and foremost thing, if you observe that the GL account type is something which is newly introduced here. So earlier only account group used to be here, and the GL account type which is there here are 4 different types you can use. So one is the balance sheet, which means all the assets and liabilities which are there, you can pretty much use balance sheet account. And then you have something called primary cost and revenues, which are typical operational cost and operational revenues. So operational cost means that all the expenses or all the revenues that you are having for operating the business. So the purpose of your business is to do certain activity. So any expenses or revenues that you are generating out of this operating business, if you are having these costs or revenues, then you will use the primary cost or revenue type. Then there are some non-operating expenses and incomes. So which means these are the expenses that you are incurring, or these are the revenues or the income that you are generating, which is maybe like a windfall. You are not going to have these expenses or revenues in a recurring basis. Meaning, if you are selling an asset, for example, you may be making some profit or some, because if the depreciation is accumulated and if you are selling the asset value more than the net asset value, so then you are generating some revenue. So then that sale of asset is not regular business. So that kind of transactions are called non-operating. So for non-operating expenses, and expenses are, for example, foreign exchange differences, right? Exchange rate differences are non-operating expenses. So you will use these account type for non-operating expenses or income. Then you have the secondary cost. This is the secondary costs are those GL accounts which you are using for the purpose of allocating values from cost center to cost center, or you are using them for activity posting the production. So all those cost elements which are normally used for controlling module only are created as a secondary cost element. So this secondary cost element is nothing but this is eliminating the redundancy of creating the primary or secondary cost elements in the CO module. So basically your CO is integrated with the finance itself. So let me take here the balance sheet here, and then account group is the one which is obviously the same way it is there. So you're using the assets here, and short text I'm putting as a not test asset, and test asset here. So then the trading partner is the same way here. If you are having a consolidation, and then if you are using intercompany related activities, then you are using this trading partner. So let me click on that control data. So control data, again, pretty much same kind of settings. Here you can use company code, currency. In this case, HTK is created as INR, so the INR is used as it is Indian currency, and then all other things are pretty same way that they are earlier also. So there is no difference. But if you come across here, like there are certain fields like inflation key is something which is introduced here. And then if you carefully observe, there is one field which used to be common, which is line item display at the account management level. That field is eliminated. Now it's no more required because what SAP presumes that you are going to have a new GL. In the new GL, the line items are automatically displayed. So there is nothing, a new setting that you need to make here. And one more field which is coming up here is clearing specific to ledger groups. So if you are having parallel accounting, and then if you are having ledgers to be used for parallel accounting, then you can use clearing within the ledger also. So this particular field is a new field in S4 HANA. So this was not there earlier. And other fields such as like account group, account clerk, these are common. And one more field that you see here is multi-currency accounting. If there is a multi-currency accounting module is introduced in SAP, so this is not really new to S4 HANA, but this multi-currency accounting requires a business function to be enabled. So that business function, if you enable, then whole bunch of functionality is inserted into the system, and then every GL account has to be assigned to multi-currency accounting key. So then you can parallelly post foreign exchange positions into a separate module altogether. So then if you go into the create bank and interest here, so pretty much the same fields which are there here, and field status group you can use this any group. In our case we are using G067, and all other fields are very pretty much the same as they used to be earlier also. So then keyword translation and information about this particular account, all this will be there are no changes there. And then if you click on this time dependent attributes, again if you need to save this particular account before you use that. So this is something, and you might have noticed one field that used to be here, create cost element, that is disappearing. So pretty much you have a financial statement version edit set, and the new field which is introduced is time dependent attributes, and then the field which is removed is the one which is create cost element here. And then also if you go here, whenever you use like GL account as a balance sheet account, sorry, a P&L account, then you will have additional fields here will show up to create this account as a cost element account. So let me just save this and again create one of the fields. So now this is like pretty much 99 that I have created here. So let me create maybe 1000 here, and create as, so if I create here as account group primary cost, then account group I'm giving as here expenses. Let's say I guess expenses are not in that group, so it's 201 to 300. So let me change that again here. Just let me cancel that. Yeah, no, I'm saving here again, going back there. So I'm just giving, let's say 220, just for the purpose of ensuring that it is working. So I'm just going ahead and creating a primary and primary cost, and giving the expenses here, and I say that it is a test expense. So the moment you give the primary cost here, so what happens is that in the system, in the second tab here, and so the tab that you are having here, in the second tab, you see that cost element category has come up here, right? So earlier it was not there. Whenever there is a balance sheet type, so then it's this particular field is not enabled, and if it is obviously the primary cost element type, then you are having this here, right? So that is the functionality that you are going to see here. So primary cost, secondary cost, like whatever that elements are there, so this primary cost elements will come if you are choosing that primary cost aspects. Okay, so then let me go ahead and save this also, just to quickly check different things. So now field status group, I'm just giving again in a G067,